Shallow men believe in luck. Strong men believe in cause and effect. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And Emerson is so correct. This is not about luck. Those of you who use your feelings to try to do your practice trades, what do you learn from feelings? You learn that they are inevitably wrong. You trust your charts. And if your charts aren't working for you, you get better charts. We have a great training for all of our members. And when I say members, I'm talking about folks who are signed up to receive our daily reviews and our once a week, which is what we're doing right now, comprehensive review and forecast. You sign up for free at chartingwealth.com. And the training we have for you today is one of our evergreen, very popular trainings. It's the secret for maximizing the Monday effect. What is the Monday effect? It's what we see on the charts on a Friday, particularly, and heads up folks, we had a weekly vertical crossover in gold going down. Well, we typically see on Friday, because of the way that the news comes out and it starts getting digested in the afternoon and then is digested further over the weekend, we usually see a continuation in the move on Friday afternoon all the way through Monday. That's why it's called the Monday effect or the weekend effect. It was originally revealed back in the 70s. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the person who did that, but it's in the video. Check out the video. And if you're not getting the video, that's because you're not a subscriber. So for free, go and sign up and we'll get it all out to you. Plus you get the links to the daily market worksheet, weekly market worksheet, trade worksheets. Those are in the show notes every day, PDFs you can print out. And of course, links where you can learn more about our book, about Patreon membership, all that. Let's jump into these charts. What do we see going on this Friday? We'll start off, as we always do, with the S&P 500 on the weekly chart. Remember, you always use the largest chart first so you know what the big trend is. And look at this. First solid red down candle, not a spinning top, but a solid red down candle. The first one we have seen since the end of the big drop, the Corona drop that we saw back on the week ending the 20th of March. What does this mean? Well, nothing right now except a heads up. It's pushed through the weekly trend line, but we don't have a crossover on the all-important price percent oscillator. That's the blue line. When it crosses over the red signal line, bing, 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 that's when the bells and whistles go off. You'll see one in a minute. That is when you know that there has been a decisive change in investor sentiment. When it crosses over going down, we typically say fear. We saw that happen back with the Corona crash when it started with the week ending the 28th of February. It went down 5 weeks after that. Then, of course, once the market stabilized and we had enough up energy, we had a weekly vertical crossover starting back on the 8th of May. And it was beautiful, went up for weeks and weeks. We even had a pullback on the 2-day chart and a chance to jump back in on a 2-day recross. So it was gorgeous to us. Now, what's happening now? Well, we go from the weekly chart, which is the price percent oscillators, headed down. Derivative oscillators gone through its second week of down movement, but still positive. That 2-day chart crossed over going down back on Tuesday, the 8th of September. And we have seen, again, prices below that 2-day trend line. We see the price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. What do we see on the half-day chart? We used to refer to it as our 4-hour chart. It's actually 195 minutes. That's what's so beautiful about the paid version of freestockcharts.com, TC2000. If you look in your show notes, you'll see a discount if you subscribe, $25 off. It's the only charts I use, the only ones I trust, and many times the only one that has the all-important price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator. I have you guys write me all the time, hey, this free charting I'm using through the broker that I have doesn't have your charts. How do I get them? You subscribe to TC2000, a few bucks a month, worth its weight in gold if you want to really learn how to track these markets and successfully practice trade. In fact, the beautiful thing is they have a paper trading platform at the basic level on TC2000 where you can paper trade And it's quite realistic. It's beautiful. Doesn't cost you a thing to practice trade. So what do we see on the half-day chart? Down in the morning, a little bit of a pull up, I guess we would say, in the afternoon. It ended up being down 0.08% for the day. I think that's what it says. It's hard for me to, yes, 0.08 with the light I'm in. It's hard for me to see that on my screen. So again, we see some warning signs of a potential downturn in the market, but it hasn't happened yet. What could happen? We could keep having down moves, and finally the weekly crossover, that'd be a weekly vertical crossover going down, we will go short on the market. What does that mean? It means you might look at something like SH, which is the single inverse. It actually goes up when the S&P 500 goes down. It's the short of the S&P. In fact, at the end of today's video, I'm going to write this down right now. I'm going to put in the inverse funds, how to make successful trades when markets are crashing. I want you to practice trade SH if you get an opportunity to do that. Also, of course, when markets are going down, that's a time to buy puts in your practice trades, to practice options. And we have an entire method of helping you understand the difference between in the money and out of the money options, which ones work, which ones don't, how to do it. We have a 3-part options training series available for our Patreon supporters. So check that out, Patreon members. We have it for you. If you want to get it, then join us at our Patreon page and we will send you out not only that training, but the short chart training, the long chart training, the Bitcoin training. And by the way, Bitcoin fans, just a little heads up for you. Look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Weekly vertical crossover going down. I know we don't typically track Bitcoin. We did for a while to help you guys understand how to track it, those long-term viewers and listeners. But looky here. Weekly vertical crossover going down on Bitcoin. Important. Did you short Bitcoin at the end of the day today in your practice trade? Hope you were watching it. If you like Bitcoin, again, great training for Patreon members on that. Now, let's get back to where we were. S&P heading down on the half-day chart. And, of course, we are simply waiting to see how this is going to shake out, if we're going to get a weekly vertical crossover or a 2-day recross. Things could start going up and this could cross back over going up. Remember when it did that back on the 2-day candle ending Monday the 3rd of August? Was that not a beautiful ride up that you had? You're darn right it was. Jumping in point was somewhere at the $326.50 mark to a high of $358.75 over just the month of August. Was that gorgeous? It was gorgeous. Okay, let's keep moving. What do we see on the Qs? The Nasdaq 100, that was down 0.81% for the day. Closer, but no weekly vertical crossover. But again, strong down movement, red down candle, the first you have seen since the COVID crash. Derivative oscillator losing momentum. Go to the 2-day chart. It crossed over going down back on the 8th. And remember, we had that 2-day recross here. Let's see, when was that? I've moved it since, but I believe that's when it was on the 21st at 278.59 to a high of 303.50. Was that good for you? Yes, it was. Now we're out of that, of course, and we have a 2-day chart moving down. Again, no weekly vertical crossover yet. We look at the 4-hour, the half-day chart, 193-minute chart. Derivative oscillator still losing downward momentum. See things down in the morning, a little bit of pull up in the afternoon. Price is still below that 4-hour trend line, so we'll continue to watch and see. We're particularly waiting over the course of this next week. Are we going to have a weekly vertical crossover or maybe a 2-day bounce back? If you're filling out your show notes, that is your weekly market worksheet. I hope you are. That's what it's all about, my friends. Okay, now let's go to TLT, 20-year bonds. What do we see going on there? Up for the day, 0.23%. Look at the kind of candle we ended the week up with. Basically a green doji. We see the price percent oscillator still tracking down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. 2-day chart. We see the first day of the latest 2-day candle pulled above the 2-day trend line. We see the price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator barely negative. Don't have a crossover yet, but again, waiting to see. We just got a lot of indecision here in TLT. Just seeing which way she's going to go. Of course, we had a half-day crossover going up back on Thursday afternoon, up in the morning and the afternoon then, and then up a little bit on Friday. Price above that 4 hour, again, I've used 4 hour for what? The 5 years I've been doing the show, the half day. And I'm going to get that right soon. Thank you for your patience. So that's where we are on bonds, waiting for them to sort their way out. Lastly, this is the big one. Weekly vertical crossover going down on gold. The only caveat I give you is the only failure of a weekly vertical crossover this year was the last time the charts tried to cross over going down on gold. It didn't work. It was only down about 1%. And over the course of that next week started moving up. We had a great jumping in point to ride it up on the 2-day recross going up, but it was difficult. So the only caveat there is it's failed us once in the down move. Now this one, we do see it moving over. And of course, if you got our training yesterday about profit and loss bands, that's how you protect yourself. You set your profit and loss bands immediately. That is before jumping into the trade, so you know where you're going to jump in and where you're going to put in your good till canceled sell order with your profit already built into the trade as soon as you enter the trade itself, the practice trade. You go ahead and put in your good till canceled sell order, however many percent up and out at the level that you set the trade, the profit band as we call it. So same thing with your loss band. What do we see going on though? We see gold crossing over, going down at the end of the week. Derivative oscillators also gone negative. Now, not a super strong down candle for the week. It is a red spinning top. It means indecision, but it is a down candle. We go to the 2-day chart. And again, we can see prices just below that 2-day trend line. Price percent oscillator is heading down. Derivative oscillators losing downward momentum. So far, first of this latest 2-day candle, we have a red open box candle. It means a slowdown in the down movement. So, a slowdown in the up movement from that prior candle. So a green solid is a slowdown in the down movement. So we'll continue to watch and see. Again, a little bit of a trepidation there just because of our past experience. Look at the half-day chart. Again, down movement in the morning, some down movement in the afternoon. Still positive on the price percent oscillator, but flat derivative oscillator losing upward momentum. So again, these weekly vertical crossovers, just remember how often they have worked for us. So we will go with this trade. I hope those of you who are practicing options printed out your options chain at the end of the day, entered your practice trade, put in your whatever your point is for profit. Typically, you look 5 months out, and depending on whether you're in the money, out of the money, or practicing both of them, setting your good till canceled sell order for the profit that you want to see in that trade based upon your prior experience or the experience you're gaining, and seeing if you can make it work. My friends, we got the book available for you, autographed copies waiting for you. Patreon supporters, appreciate you. Those of you who want to be Patreon members, don't forget with that, you in particular get our 3-part options training. We are so proud of it. Options made simple, the Charting Wealth way. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. All the best.